This is a tough moral, ethical, criminal justice issue. How do we handle the death of a fetus, an unborn child?
It's not a new issue, but in light of what happened on a street in Stapleton last week, it is likely to be addressed in Colorado once again.
It is homicide and an unborn victim.
Colorado law says that the two don't really mesh. At issue is whether Colorado prosecutors should be able to charge someone whose crime directly causes the death of a woman's fetus with homicide. As you might imagine, it is a sticky debate. Lori Gorham was 34 weeks pregnant when she was hit. Doctors tried to save her baby, but in the end, the injuries were just too severe. As of last word, she is in fair condition at Denver Health Medical Center, and that's where 9 News reporter Chris Vanderveen is. And Chris, the most important question of this story remains unanswered at this hour.
Mark, that question being who did this? Without an answer to that question, it really doesn't matter what prosecutors might charge this particular person with. But let's say they do make an arrest. What's clear under state law is that they will not be able to charge this case as a homicide. There is precedent, recent precedent in the state of Colorado. Just ask the prosecutors over on the Western Slope.
He was fleeing a state patrolman, slammed into a minivan driven by a mother who was pregnant, and the baby died. It was 2007.
We'll never forget my daughter, Lily. She is in our life every day.
The man who did this originally faced a murder charge, and then the court said no.
Even if the baby was delivered and lived for a while, it would not be considered a homicide in Colorado.
The state legislature tried to address the issue during the last session, making it possible to charge a person responsible for the death of a fetus with homicide. It failed, and now this. A pregnant mother crossing a street in Stapleton is struck by a dark-colored SUV or truck. She's 34 weeks pregnant and subsequently loses her baby.
It's just heartbreaking, and we feel like this is such a terrible act by the perpetrator.
Talk show host and former Denver prosecutor Craig Silverman says expect the talk to pick up once again.
It's difficult, it's emotional, and I expect the legislature will once again take this up.
35 states have laws that would make this crime homicide. It's not exactly popular here because both sides of the abortion debate have, in the past, opposed measures to tackle the issue. Abortion rights folks say the language could go too far, and abortion foes have said the language always seems to address abortion in a way they don't like.
We will oppose any legislation that would say it's permissible under some circumstances to kill any child.
Regardless, the Stapleton case has people talking about the issue once again. Whether there's enough support to pass a measure soon remains unclear.
Here's the tricky part in all of this. Logan Lage is the man responsible in that Grand Junction case. Just last year, he pleaded guilty to the crime of child abuse resulting in death. He got 20 years for it. It remains unclear, legally speaking, if that same charge could be used in the Denver charge. Again, this all remains moot if they cannot find the person responsible for this particular crime in Stapleton. Obviously, Mark, police still asking for a lot of help in this case.
Right, and as Craig Silverman said in your piece, it's just heartbreaking, the whole thing.
It certainly is, the whole thing.
Thank you, Chris. In addition to the 35 states that have passed homicide laws that address unborn victims, a federal law passed in 2004 that deals with the subject. Not all state laws are similar, as some, such as California's law, address fetuses only older than 7 to 8 weeks.